Hey YouTube land, Tychonders here doing another action figure review. And this time, as I said, I was going to do some more Masters of the Universe stuff. So today is for the Masters of the Universe Windraider Assault Lander. Now, I can't get the full box into the screen here. Even if I pull back the camera a bit. It is quite a big, large box. But we'll go over most of the points on the box. So it is pretty much the same size box. Actually, if I just bring it in, it's pretty much identical size box to Stridor's, which I've already done the review of. The dimensions and everything is pretty much the same. Only difference being is contents and the card art. So what's interesting on this, unlike Stridor's, this one says unassembled on it. So there is some assembly required. It includes a hover display stand, which again has the ability to connect to Grayskull. And speaking of Grayskull, so if I flip the box art up, I know I shouldn't really do it this way because it kind of ruins it, but the box art is continued onto the top of the box. So the entire kind of box art is, you have Grayskull, you have Stratos, you have these shadow creatures, which I think are supposed to be the shadow demons. They kind of have a look of Jitsu and Beastman. And then, I'm not sure if I can get this into a shot, if I just bring it down. Up the very top is the image of the Windraider itself. And on the very corner there's three evil versions of a Windraider. Skeletor version, which has Skeletor driving one. Faker, and it looks like Triclops. What's interesting is the head on the evil version is the same ram head as a Skeletor staff. Oh, and then it has other details. Sorry, wings and tail move, has a grapple hook and winch, carries He-Man on surprise raids. Which I didn't think He-Man went out and raided. I would have imagined him being out and being like heroic and stuff. So on the back of the box, it shows other figures that are available at the time. So you have Castle Grayskull, the Windraider itself, Buzzsaw Hordak, which is a deluxe figure, Battle Armor, Skeletor, and He-Man, which are also deluxe figures. And then it has what you can do with so there's a grapple hook launcher, you can wind it back up. Rolling wheels to ride He-Man into battle, and adjustable hover stand for flying display. Also has a warning, do not aim at eyes or face, and only use projectiles supplied with this toy, do not fire point blank. Then there's another bit of a blurb, modernizing and celebrating the original 80s Masters of the Universe action figures. Masters of the Universe Origins gives you the power to pose eternity's greatest warriors as retro figures or in new action-packed battle positions. And again, just moving this down, getting this into screen is a bit troublesome. There is more image on the back of the box. You got Grayskull again. You got the keep calling it Land Raider, which is a Warhammer 40,000 thing. Is the Windraider is parked up, and there's a big battle going on. What's interesting is you can see there's one of the evil versions parked up as well, and you can see the head a bit clearer that has the ram horns on the back of it, kind of akin to Skeletor staff. You have Man-at-Arms, Teela, and He-Man up front. You also have Skeletor, Skeletor, Faker, Beastman, which is the red Beastman of the kind of Legion of, or Lords of Power style version. You have this cool frog, kind of toad looking guy, which I don't think, maybe might get a figure if he's on the box, I don't know. And you got this other kind of generic warrior guy. And then right in the corner, over this side, you have Zodak, who's firing a blaster, and again, Castle Grayskull is hidden in the background. So I know I shouldn't have, messed around with the card because it's put a big crease on it. I'm not a mint-on card collector, so don't be too worried about that. It is interesting to note that unlike the smaller packaging, like the sorry, I'll just bring in the WWE ones, which are essentially the same. The larger boxes don't have the hook peg things, the punch area for hooking them up or hanging them. So it is interesting to note that. But other than that, that is pretty much it for the packaging. And now before I bring in the vehicle, I'll just bring this in. You do get this with the vehicle, which is in instructions. It does kind of give a good indication of what is unassembled in the box. So you have the two wings are separate, the main body of the vehicle, the tail piece, you have a clear stand, you have this base piece, and then you have a larger base piece and a small computer that connects to it. So it gives you instructions how to fit figures, how to assemble the vehicle, and how to fire the grappling launcher. And then on the back it shows you how to detach it and attach the base to Castle Grayskull if you were so inclined to or lucky enough to have the new version of Castle Grayskull. I do not think it will attach to the older version of Grayskull, because on the new one this section here on the tower is actually larger to accommodate a figure and the battle or the laser cannon. So when I get through the vehicle, I will dig out my Castle Grayskull and I'll add that into this review and showcase the Windraider piece, and not only that, the Strider one as well. And here it is in all it is glory. Now I have it all assembled. Once the wings and stuff pop in, I do not think they are designed to pop out. I do have it on the battle stand for change. I know with Strider I kind of left them off and I didn't really show him attached, only because the stand part isn't, to me the stand part is more if you want to display them and not use them. For this you can get away with both, so it just pegs straight in on this peg. Now the peg is very similar to that which came with the Sky Sled. You have a rotation on it, you pop this whole section out, and that gives you the piece that will connect into Grayskull. You see there's a peg hole here on the bottom, and that matches up with the peg hole that is on Castle Grayskull's tower section that you can plug the cannon into, but it does connect into this. You do get a nice computer display with a sticker on it. Kind of has a harken back to the Point Dread kind of type thing. For some reason it reminds me of it, but we'll put that to the side and we'll get the Windraider out itself. Let me just adjust my camera and hopefully it won't roll off the screen, because there's this slight incline on this area where I do my reviews. Now, because this thing is so big, what I'm going to do, I get it out of the way first, and I'm going to do the comparison between this and the old one. Now, the old one I have is fairly beaten up, fairly broken. It's missing the tail. It does have the wings. If I can get them out without breaking them. They're already broken. So, let me just reassemble it. Sorry. So, my old one has this very common issue, which I hope won't translate over onto this, where the plastic of the wings start cracking. Now there's no kind of rhyme or reason for it. It's not it's more to do with age than actually play. I think it starts splitting. As from what I can see, it doesn't look like there was any kind of stress on it. I might be able to glue them back together, I don't know, but on both wings they have these kind of stress cracks. One of my wings is actually broken. It should have this larger section that plugs into the wing. It doesn't have that. It just barely fits in. I'm thinking I might be able to fix it with a Lego piece, because it looks very similar to the Technic kind of bars that has a similar kind of design to it. I may do that, but because of the crack on it, might just try and get new versions. If someone out there might be doing 3D printed ones, that might be interesting. Again, my one does not have the tail, but it does have the grapple launcher thing. Now, on the old one, you just pull it out. It doesn't fire out like on the new one, which I will show, and it does wind back up eventually. Can't remember if you put this up to wind it up. It does wind up, and there is a peg so that you can peg it onto the front of the Windraider. If I just take the wings off it, it'll be a little bit easier to showcase it. The wings don't really make, actually I'll leave the one wing on. Just you see the size of this thing is massive compared to the original. I mean, if I take Clamp Champ out here, I have him for demonstration purposes. He's the guy that's flying it. I know the original one shows He-Man, or the box art shows He-Man on it. Just as a side note, you can fit the Origins slightly into the old one. They're a bit of a tight fit, but they do fit. But like, there's no contest between the old and the new one. The new one is at least twice the width of the original, with the wings included. Or it's like 0.1 times the size of the original. What is interesting, and I'll get it out of the way first, is the cockpit section on the new one. It's way more detailed. The old one is just a big open gap with stickers for controls. This one still has the stickers for controls, but I'm just going to move the old one away completely. It is far more detailed. You actually have a seated area. It doesn't just go straight flat in. And I'm not sure if you can see this on camera. It's a bit hard to see, but on the bottom of the actual vehicle itself, it has all the steel plate design, which is quite cool. It does have the big afterburners that the original one does have. I know I said I was going to leave it off. The stickers on mine are fairly bad and beaten up as well. So you can see, even though the stickers are very similar going across the board, my ones are, I think, a little faded. It could be. The ones on the new one are a lot more crisp and detailed. You have a lot more painted detail on this. Like, these yellow sections aren't painted. They're sculpted on the original, but they're not painted. The wings do rotate, just like it says on the box. The tail wing does move, just like it says on the box. And I'll do this. I don't have anyone who can stand in front of it. I might as well use old Fisto. For hopefully this might work. So this thing does fire out, and doesn't go very far. Let's see if I can get it to work again. Yeah, there we go. It fires out and knocks over a Fisto, and it has a winch on it, so you can wind it back up. Now, I've found with mine, it's very temperamental. It could be just mine. I had an issue where it kept popping out when I was trying to wind it back up, and so far so good. It doesn't seem to be doing that too much. But as I said, overall detail wise, it's very nicely done. Again, you can fit modern figures in it. I don't have any vintage figures, so I don't know if they'll fit in as well. But I would imagine, since the modern figures can fit into vintage vehicles, you might be able to get away with putting vintage figures into the modern vehicles. The only thing that would be different is the fact that you have handles on the side. The vintage figures don't have articulation in the arm. They just have a swivel at the shoulder. They don't have any elbow or hand articulation, so you can't rotate the hands to grip the handles. But Clamp Champ looks pretty good in there. Now, I would probably take out He-Man for it, but it's like every vehicle that they've released so far, they've either had He-Man or a variation of He-Man piloting it on the box art. I think it'd be great if they didn't keep putting He-Man in every new vehicle they put on the box art. Even if he's just there on the packaging, like, you could have someone else piloting it. Even like if Man-at-Arms was piloting it on the thing, because he piloted it a lot on the show, it would make sense. But I get they're trying to do a homage to the original box arts. But even like for Stridor, the original box art had Fisto actually riding Stridor, and He-Man was beside him. And on the new one, they put He-Man in Stridor and had actually, I don't even think He-Man was on the cover of the original box art. But there you go. The button for the launch mechanism is there. As I said, mine, when I first got it, seemed to be quite temperamental. It kept putting in it and it just kept firing out. I don't know if that's going to be the way on all of them. It could be just mine, but overall, it's not too bad. So I'm going to take a 5-second break here. Well, to you, it won't be any time difference, but I'm going to set up the Castle Grayskull and showcase it together with how it connects with the Windraider's connection point, and I'll try and dig it out for Stridor's as well. So I'll see you in 2 seconds. And we are back yet again, and this is how it attaches to Castle Grayskull. Now, I have so much stuff in the background, it's hard to get, hard to see it. It's so tall as well that I have to hold my camera so you can see it. Now, if you're wondering what this thing over here is, this is the Ghost of Castle, or Spirit of Castle Grayskull from the Power concept, which I will get around to reviewing at some point. It basically plugs into the section where this flagpole goes, and likewise the landing section for the Windraider plugs into the section where this blaster goes. So if I just move it, hopefully without knocking everything over, bear with me a moment. So it just lifts off, and you see there's a peg hole there, and if I can swing this around, there's a peg, matching peg, or sorry, there's a peg hole on the bottom of this and a matching peg on that, and it just plugs into that, and it sits up on top of that. Now, it's not the most secure snug thing. Like, if you were to hit it, it would probably come flying off, but it is something to be note of interest. And as I have Castle Grayskull out, now this could take a little bit of doing. Bear with me a moment. I'm just going to take the Windraider off because it does feel like it's quite heavy up on top of it, and when I start opening up Castle Grayskull, it'll probably come crashing down. And as I said, I would do it because I didn't do it in the Stridor review. So if I open up Castle Grayskull, is a bit of a thing to do. The way they showed this, which is the piece that came at Stridor with the peg, just shows it sliding in over here on this side of the castle. Now, it is interesting if I just pull the lift up out of the way, just move the gun out of the way, you can slide it along here pretty much anywhere along this section of the castle. You can have it anywhere. If you were to have it here, the lift might catch off the, we'll bring the lift back down. Yeah, it will catch off that section. Now, this does pop back out if I can do it. Bear with me a moment. It should do, as far as I know. See, it doesn't seem to want to pop out at all. I think once it's in, it's in. So you're kind of limited onto where this goes depending on how much stuff you have for the castle, because in addition to that spirit piece from Castle Grayskull, that same set also came with this, which is a replacement grate, dungeon grate for the dungeon. It comes with a kind of monster creature. I can't remember the name of it, but it's like from the cartoons, and it basically slides in over one side here. If I just angle my camera, it slides in over one side here where the dungeon sticker is, so it's supposed to simulate that. So if you have both that and Stridor's thing, and it, depending on how open you get the castle, like I only have it at 45 degrees, or sorry, at 90 degrees on the joint. You could open it the full way around, you could get more room for things, but if you're limited on space and storage, you might only be able to get it to a certain degree. And if I just take Stridor, I'm going to take Hordak, not Hordak, Zodak off. It doesn't look like you can really fit it there with Zodak. And if I just plug Stridor into the plug of this thing, if I can line it up, it should be there. So, is that right? That seems right. For some reason, it's designed so that you can have Stridor in a more jumping pose. So I suppose you could kind of get it at that angle in. Nope, doesn't seem to want to go in at that angle. And if you can pop this out, mine's being a bit troublesome, it should be able to slide back out, as far as I'm aware. Oh, I don't want to force it in case it breaks. You should be able to just put Strider standing on all fours in this piece. But other than that, it does doesn't peg in, it just kind of slides into place on Castle Grayskull. But I'd imagine if you had it far more open, I don't have full extended open, you get more space for positioning Strider underneath or at the bottom of Grayskull. But overall, the Windraider set is what I'm reviewing. So the Windraider is actually quite a nice set. It does have some add-on bits for Castle Grayskull. I do recommend picking it up. I got mine from Big Bad Toy Store. I think they're still available on there now at the moment. They might be just, the original sales might have sold out and they might be back on pre-order again. Sometimes they do that, but I do recommend picking it up if you're a fan. It would look cool if you had multiples of them flying as well. The one thing I did miss on my review, if I can get everything out of the way, I forgot to turn it over and show that it does actually include wheels. Now what's interesting about these is it has clear plastic wheels, as opposed to on the original you had like yellow wheels that matched the same plastic that the wings and the weapons were made out of. This also has quite a lot of detailing on the bottom as well. You have like this big fan, which is supposedly probably for the VTOS thing of it, because if those of us are old enough or young enough, whichever way you want to say it, remember the cartoon, you always remember it kind of took off straight up and then would fly along. It never kind of took off like a plane, or at least I don't remember it ever taking off as a plane. I remember it kind of taking off vertically and then flying along, so there is that. So there you go, guys. I hope this has been somewhat entertaining and somewhat informative for you, and I hope you enjoyed this review. As I say in my videos, please feel free to like, comment and subscribe to my channel, and hope to get more Master stuff reviewed and hope to get more reviews of different stuff on the way. So cheers, hope you enjoyed this review, and please feel free to like, comment and subscribe.